Okay, School is Week. This is Ernie Stevens III, and I am coming to you live from our wonderful, amazing Oneida Nation Cannery. So coming in from the office here, just going to show you some day-to-day stuff that they do, and then we're going to get a walkthrough and presentation from Jimmy Betters, who runs our cannery and does all the amazing work for us, and teaches our community how to do these very, very important things. And so we're going to go over to Jamie here.
All right, so everyone, as you've heard with the intro, my name is Jamie Betters, and I'm the cannery manager here at Jikunde Guayaje. And in our language, it means the place that they put the food away, which I absolutely love that name because it's everything that we embody. So as you're coming in here, we're going to kind of be a little close because we're using a mic so that you can hear. So I will going to be talking about many different pieces of what we do here. And our primary responsibility is to assist our community members with home preservation. It allows them to be self-reliant, and that's the big component of what our advocacy, our education, and training is all about. In addition, you'll see pieces of equipment that allow us to do, in addition to just community processing, also value added. The one most important piece that we do here is we process our traditional white corn. So I'm going to kind of bring you along over here and kind of showcase our white corn and how we store it. And we really try to reuse as much as we can. So as you can see, this is actually an ice cream cooler. So it kind of fakes you out a little bit when you're thinking that there's going to be ice cream in here. But what we do is we store our white corn so that we don't have any issues with infestation, with any bugs. So that, as you can see with this small facility, we deal with moisture issues, condensation issues. So again, we really try to be innovative with the pieces of equipment that are around our organization and how we can reuse this. Because this cooler came from one of our gas stations. So it fits perfectly in here, and we're able to store about 500 pounds. So within that, the white corn, when it comes to us, the really cool thing about it is that we are the last ones to have our hands on this white corn. So it's really pretty cool that we get to be those last caretakers within our white corn and how to process it. So we actually have a little demo of one of the many different ways that we process, which is one of our traditional methods. It is hulling. So you'll hear nixtamalization, you'll hear, in our community, we just simply say we're hulling. And this is hulling with wood ash. And one of the cool things that we do is we kind of do a barter system with our community members on who is heating up their houses with wood. And of course we use hardwood ash. And right here, what we do is we have them sign an affidavit saying that it's completely pure, and we exchange for processing fees or any corn products. So this is where we store our wood ash. And we go through the cannery processes about 10,000 pounds of white corn. So that's pretty amazing as to what we're able to do and how we're able to feed our community within our own structure here. One of the other processes that we do is we roast. We don't have a coffee roaster, but we used a conventional oven that really does the same thing. And this allows us to do even more with it rather than just roast our white corn. So we really look at pieces of equipment that are versatile because, as you can see, there's not a lot of space in here. And again, with dealing with moisture and condensation issues, we got to keep it to a minimal as best as we can. So again, the convection oven is really, really imperative to roasting our corn. And I'll explain a little bit and showcase the end product when we get down. So the other part of our white corn process is after we get done hulling, maybe I should go over here. So I'll have Ernie follow me over here. So again, when I talk about being innovative in space-wise, we can't necessarily fit a vegetable cleaner in here, right? A lot of the times we see that equipment could be as long as football fields. We're dealing with roughly about 500, 600 square footage. So what we looked at was the similarities. What does it do in comparison to what we need it to do with being able to clean our corn? Because what we noticed is that we can't hand clean as much as we used to because it was getting pretty labor intensive on our backs. And so what we looked at is actually a washing machine. So what we did is we worked with our environmental health and safety to see like, hey, we have this crazy idea to convert a washing machine into a produce washer, into a white corn washer. Can we really do this? Can we pull this off? And what we said and what we've noticed with working with Speed Queen was that we needed to have a stainless steel tub. And the holes in here, if Ernie, you want to come and take a little closer look, the holes here needed to be big enough so that everything can be pushed out. Nothing could be ponding, and we had nothing being able to sit in there, again, when we're dealing with food safety. So we're really, really big and gurus on food safety. So I have to tell you, this has been just one of those experiments that just went really, really well. So we don't just use it to wash white corn. We'll take the agitation system out of there, and then we'll put our cukes in there. We'll put our tomatoes in there. We'll manipulate the system so that it's not sitting in water, and that the agitation does it on its own. Within, like for instance, the cukes, they'll rub against each other and they'll clean themselves. So again, this has been such a successful system. So I don't know, maybe in the future, you're gonna see us have like 10 more of these bad boys. So with the batch that we're able to do, we can fit about 50 pounds of white corn after it gets done hulling in here. And so after we get done washing the corn, then we'll put them in these dehydrated systems. And so right here, I'm just gonna move some things around. We brought out the whole show. So you're gonna see me moving a lot of pieces of equipment around because I really wanted to showcase big units and small units and what we're able to do. These are our Excalibur dehydrators. So when we're really pounding things out, these steam retorts right here, going back to this corn processing, there's roughly about 15 pounds in here, but I can do about 50 pounds in each unit. So if these both are going, I can do 100 pounds, 50 each. And then I probably should talk a little bit about these kettles as well. So these kettles then will allow us to do 100 each. So if you do the math, 100, 100, 50, and 50, we're really able to pound out 300 pounds of white corn at a time in a day. So that kind of goes back to these units. So we needed to do equal amounts, right? So we couldn't just have, we did 300 pounds, we can't just have 200 in the refrigerator waiting to go for the next day. We wanted to make sure that if we are capable of hauling 300 pounds, then how do we process it and take care of it right away? So these Excalibur units are amazing as well and very versatile. And we started with home dehydrators. So I don't want to fool you. We've been in this facility for 41 years. So it's pretty exciting with the involvement of the cannery. So yeah, we didn't just start with these units. We haven't been here for like 10 or so years. We've been here around about 41 years. So we've had to really start small and then gradually work our way up. So these units here, this Excalibur, you're able to do 50 and 50. So we're able to dehydrate 100 pounds per one dryer. So then again, this is another 100 pounds. And then when we're looking at space needs again, we were able to get, so these are considered two-phase and this is a one-phase, makes sense, right? So then we're able to pound out 50 pounds in one of these. And then again, on the bottom here is 50 pounds. So we're able to really take care, if we were in max production, we'd be able to do our 300 pounds. Now, what else do we do with these bad boys? Well, I'll kind of talk a little bit about our apple peeler, and because we have an amazing apple orchard here. So if you know a little bit of something about our infrastructure with our food system, we have a really cool apple orchard that we have about 30 or plus different varieties. So the value added of that, if you can only imagine with apples, is so abundant. So, so that's also what we use these dehydrators for. Herbs, you name it, these dehydrators can really pound out a good amount. And you can see that they're not very big, but the way that they're vertical is how it helps our facility. So when we're coming back here, I want to talk about also about what our facility does. It not only dehydrates, but we also do acidified and low acid canning. So we have these steamers, and what these do is, and I'm going to turn it on a little bit just so you can see the importance of it. So we're an FDA certified facility. And if we weren't, we have an amazing food code that's over 20 years old. So we're able to self-regulate and govern ourselves. Yay to that. And so when these are on full blast, these are really kind of, they're very similar to a water bath canner. The only difference is that when you see the temperature that he has here, these will get to 212. How long have we been sitting here? Maybe a minute. So that's what's really nice about these steam kettles or steam processors. They're actually they help take care of when we have to what do you say? We do multiple things. So our jams and jellies and our acidified foods go in here too. So our pickles and all that good stuff. So it's really nice to be able to use these because, again, when we're looking at the amounts that we need to do, it's really imperative that we're looking at equipment that helps those needs. And so, yeah, so that's really cool about one of the types of facilities is that we don't have to use as much water. So as we're coming down here, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the pieces of equipment dealing with white corn and how we make our flours. So we've converted, and you'll see a lot of conversions here. We've converted coffee grinders into our white corn grinders. And so we're able to, as you can see, grind in many different courses. And I'm just going to show you, turn this on so I can show you exactly how it works. And throughout our usage, and looking at multiple different products, we were really looking at what do community members eat and how can we convert? How can we do more of a traditional diet in a very broad sense of what our white corn can do? So when you're looking at pancakes, muffins, items like that that you can bake with, we had to look at the types of grind, what that was not able to do. So these coffee grinders are amazing. We do thousands of pounds with them, and they're our primary coffee grinders. But we also are corn grinders. So soon we're going to make our own sticker, and it's going to be white corn. And so we had to look at another unit, which is this big daddy right here. So this grinder allows us to grind it really, 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 really fine. And that allows us to make and use it, our white corns, like as I would say, an all-purpose flour. Really, really fine, so that you don't have any, I wouldn't say any issues, you don't have as much issues with its, all of your wet ingredients soaking, your white corn soaking it all up. So I'm gonna show you a little bit, I'm not sure if you can see, hoping you can see the different types. This is our Gunnestoha flour right here. So it's hauled with wood ash, we dry it, and we grind it in that coffee grinder. This is our corn mush flour. So this is the corn that's roasted, and then we also, it's a more grittier and a little coarse, as I mentioned, coarser. And that's kind of how we like our mush here in this community. Every community in the Haudenosaunee is a little bit different, and that's how we like ours. And this is the all-purpose flour. It's super soft, super soft. So again, this is, ooh, and it smells so good. Just even rubbing it, you can really bring out that aroma. So just simply as a few different pieces of equipment, there's so much then we have been able to do and even market our products. So I guess what I'll kind of talk a little bit about some of the FDA certifications. And so we're able to do some low acid canning here. And previously we've been doing our corn soup. So we can our corn soup and put those out in the shelves. And these are very similar as a pressure canner. So it's literally the same thing. It may seem a little bit more technical, but it's really the same thing. I would say the only difference is that we have so many different things on here. So if it goes down, we can look at another one. And if this goes down, then we'll look at the mercury thermometer. And so with being certified, we have to do a lot of logging. And this just ensures that the products that we are having out to the public is to make sure that it's completely safe and that we're following times and temperatures, because God forbid we do not want to get anybody sick. So we don't want to deal with any sort of botulism and things like that. These probes in here actually pick up the temps in there, which then, and I'll have Ernie follow me, which then comes to our digital recorder here. So we have 4 different units, and you'll see here roughly we're able to identify 4 different temperatures, and this will tell us by the gauges how many pounds of pressure it will convert from the PSIs into a temperature, and then the times. So what this did and why we incorporated this is because what I would say, this is roughly about 10 years old, and before that we had a paper unit, and just to drop, the thickness of the pen would look like we underprocessed, which then we would have to throw out that batch. And really there was no safety issue at all. It was just merely the thickness of that pen, and there was only one type of pen that could go on these units. So completely obsolete. So we got into a digital recorder, and this almost, I wouldn't say eliminated all of the waste, because sometimes you have batches that go down, but it really helped us, I would say 80%, to take care of what that waste was, and looking at those units. So anytime we're done processing, whether it's high acid or low acid foods, we put them into this cooler. So this is an old beer cooler, and this has been here since conception. So this bad boy is roughly 41 years old. So if you know anything about canning and putting any hot glass into cold water, there's breakage, right? So what we've done, again, the intention is to be able to do a lot within our space. And the reason why this works is because it's cascading. We're not dumping hot jars into a filled tank. So again, it takes roughly about 15 minutes to cool down, and then we'll come and we'll put it on the label station, and we'll dry them, label them, storage, and out for distribution. So again, this is a very key piece, even though it seems like it's not. It's a very key piece to what we have in here. So I'm gonna kind of go around here. And when we're talking about packaging, and looking at different types of ways to ensure that our products are incredibly, we talk about quality all of the time. Put this just display just to show you the varieties of different corns that we process. We don't just handle our white corn, but it's beautiful, huh? We also have some Mohawk red corn as well as blue corn, and we look at many ways to utilize our corn. So we have a corn husk mat here, and then just plug in Becky Webster. She made this beautiful corn husk doll for us. And of course, even though we do a lot of conventional processing, we still are true to our traditional practices. So we do still use this basket, and a lot of the workshops that we do always go back to those traditional ways. And our cornbread paddles. So again, we really make sure that we're staying true to that first and foremost when we do any sort of workshops with community. And these are just really small parts of what our product line is. So we have about 30-some different product lines, all value added. And so we want to ensure, we could go on and on and on about all the different products that we could do, but we want to stay true to what's locally grown here. What do we grow? And how can we tie into a local farmer? So again, that's what our product base is. It's all about locally sourced ingredients, and as well as taking care of our beans. So we're really getting into more of our traditional and edible beans. We have some sweetgrass here. So believe it or not, this is sweetgrass that we grow here. So I wanted to just kind of display that a little bit, because what you don't see is what we're going to have here in a few weeks is a commercial juicer. And we're super, super excited about that, because we kind of want to indigenize those cold pressed juices. We wanted to be able to add our sweetgrass, our bergamot, our teas, everything that's grown around us, right? Those medicines, and really infuse and indigenize those sort of products. So I want to plug, I also want to plug, we have some really cool food sovereignty stickers. So if you can holler at me, I'll do my best to send you some. I have some window ones as well. So when I talk about packaging, I'm just gonna leave that there. When I talk about packaging, it's all about how do we seal. So again, we started with simply a heat sealer. You press down on it, and then it seals your package, right? It doesn't do any sort of vacuum. It literally just hot seals. So when you look at dry products, we don't need it to vacuum. We just simply need a hot seal. So I'll kind of show you a little bit. So right here. So this is a hot seal that I'm talking about. And then as we started to get smarter and really look at other pieces of equipment, here's a continuous one. So this allows, when we turn it on, this allows us to just keep adding product, and it seals and seals and seals. So we kind of have to keep up with it now more than ever. So one of the newer food productions, I think even globally, although it's been around for years and years and years, especially when you're dealing with space foods, is freeze dryers. So behind here, or in front of me, is our newest and latest pieces of equipment, which is our freeze dryer. So it's a lot different than the dehydrations. And I'm gonna open one of the products here just to show you a little bit of the differences within freeze drying and dehydration. And it's the same apple. It's literally the same apple. So the integrity of the shape stays, and it keeps all of the nutrients intact. Trying to open up one of our other products here. Let me use I think we have, there we go, a scissors. So again, when we look at the label, what we really wanted to do is we kind of wanted to use it as a training piece. We want to put our language and share our language as much as we can. And so again, as Newego is kind of our little trademark that says it tastes good. And we also want to be able to share our story to let you know how we're sourcing our products. So we want to definitely plug our own apple orchard. And that goes the same on within our white corn. So you'll actually see the Junhinko label here because we wanted to let you know where it's sourced. And then here's the dehydrated apples. So you can see the difference. Both are equally good. So don't let me trick you on that. So when we looked at really the way that we eat, right, and the fast pace of what our community members need, and what is the one thing that we hear a lot of people eating, which is ramen noodles. And so we all know what's in ramen noodles. I don't even have to tell you that. We know that. And what we wanted to do, because we kind of can be an innovative kitchen, and that's really one of the fun parts of what we do, is looking at how can we create a corn soup that is quick. Is that possible? Should that happen? And really kind of looking at the feasibility of that. So what these freeze dryers allowed us to do is really look at that ramen in the cup, right? So we were able to take a completely done corn soup batch, put it into these freeze dryers, and lo and behold, we were able to do that. So that's actually one of the next products that we're gonna launch, and you're gonna be seeing our white corn soup similar to that ramen in a cup. However, we don't want to use styrofoam, of course, so we're really looking at those packages. And again, so like, for instance, we've converted back into Mylar packaging, which you'll see is the black and the white. And that, again, ensures just the quality of any dry product that we have, because we previously had, oh, there is one, plastic. So kind of going away from that. We don't have to deal with any sort of issues with lighting where it's stored, with condensation or anything like that. So it is a little bit, tad bit more expensive, but again, we really want to ensure quality, 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 especially because it's a lot of work that we do, and it's a lot of locally sourced. So I think I kind of covered some bases. And what I do want to do is kind of give you a little demo on how we use our apple peeler. So I did mention about our apple orchard, of course. And so I'm going to move these mixers You know, this is going to be a funny story about these mixers. So we have increased our Ganastoha, our cornbread, tenfold since I've been here. And I've been here roughly about 16 years. I know, it's crazy. And so we thought that, okay, if we were able to put in more of a smaller commercial mixer, we're going to be able to do a lot more in a short amount of time, right? Because we pound out roughly about, I think it's about 300 cornbread a month. And when we get into the holiday seasons, that is even a lot more. So we usually do about 1,000 come Thanksgiving. So we thought, okay, we're going to add a mixer in here. It's going to be able to help us do batches so we don't have to use our hands as much. But what happened is that the mixer breaks up our beans. So our community members were like, your beans are all smashed in here. So we had to go back to our hands to mix up our cornbread. So even though we have this, we don't hardly use it for the purpose it was intended. So that's kind of interesting, huh? It's kind of pretty cool. Even though it's a little labor intensive, it's pretty cool that they recognize that and they really want those whole beans. But I get it. I totally get it. So I wanted to mention that. That's why I brought it out, because it's a cute little story. And then before I do the apple, just since it's here, is some of the key pieces of just meat processing. You don't need a whole lot. So yes, we have the dehydrator so that we can do a lot of jerky-based stuff. But this is one of our grinders. So again, attachments are super important when we look at pieces of equipment, so that, again, the functionality of it gives us a really good opportunity to do more than just one thing. And I would have never guessed that a meat slicer would be fun to work with or even versatile, but it is. It really is. So it's really nice and fun to use. All right, so what I'm going to do is actually go this way and have Ernie come and follow me. So this is a German-based apple peeler. And so when we were looking at how can we best look at the value added in apples, really utilizing our orchard and creating some sort of revenue stream, it was looking at pieces of equipment. Again, I'm going to reiterate how important it is for us to look at units that are small-based, but yet commercial. And so, as you can see here, it's all based on German. So we really had to do a lot of trial and error on how to run this machine, but we figured it out. This unit is probably roughly about 7 years old. So now they've converted to all English. So it's a lot easier currently than it was before. So we're going to talk about these attachments here, and this is the really cool part about this piece of equipment is all of the attachments that come with it. So you can have chunks, you can have slices, you can have thicker slices. So again, it's kind of a wow piece with the amounts that we're able to do. The only downfall I would say is that it's all about the size. So when we look at research and development and looking at the types of product, again, reiterating the quality of the product, we're looking at what types of apples. So whether it's an early season, a mid-season, or late season apples, the size is what really matters with this machine. And then we go based on what does it taste like. So we've gone through so many different apples, and we've really been able to then, through some of grant work that we've done, we definitely want to give shout outs to different grant agencies such as First Nations Institute, thank you so much, as well as we've done some USDA value added grants that allowed us to really do that research and development. So within that, I'm going to kind of do the demo and show you just how cool. I am going to just allow the pieces to fall because I'm not going to do that many. All right. So the core base kind of got stuck, but I do want to show you how cool this is. And again, we're able to do about 3 apples every 5 seconds. So again, when we talk, I totally forgot to mention this. So we started, as I said before, with any sort of packaging and vacuum sealing and all that good stuff. We really started with a lot of the units that are meant for home. So when we first started to do vacuum sealing, I think we got our sealer from Walmart. I hate to see it, but we did. And it was like putting your fingers on the end, and it was like, and you can only do one, and it took like a minute to do. So this is what we call our granddaddy. And this unit allows us to do 6 different packages, especially with our gun still haul, because we talk about shelf stability and refrigerated products and what that allows us to do and how lengthy our products are allowed to be out on the shelves. So this allows us to do about 6 gun still haul within, I would say, 10 seconds. So it's pretty amazing. You'll see these probes right here. That's what puts in the nitrogen gas. So this is the units that we have here. And that allows it, again, for the freshness. So that for instance, our dried apple chips are similar to potato chips. And we really like that crunch to it. And it allows us to keep that sugar base inside so that we don't lose that taste of that. So again, this unit is absolutely amazing. And I can't stress enough the importance of pieces of equipment, because if you, again, you can see the space is not so big. So a lot of times when people come in here, they have no idea exactly how big it is until we open up the doors. And they're always wowed about the amounts that we can do. So hopefully I kind of covered all of the basics, and you kind of have an idea as to what we do here in Oneida Nation of Wisconsin, and the amounts and the services that we provide our community. Because not only do we look at community self-reliant, because one of the things that you can do is, and you'll kind of see our board here and you'll see some names on there. And what we do is we, again, as I mentioned right at the beginning of it, is that we schedule community members to come in. So if you have your own garden, you're growing your own goods, we assist you very, very minimal fee and helping you make your own salsas, making your own jams, really look at that self-reliancy, and looking at when you're growing your own white corn. Sometimes you don't have big kettles to do a whole batch, and sometimes you don't have dehydrators. So it allows us to really help families with those needs, because we really talk about food security now more than ever, right? Dealing with COVID more than ever is this resource is important, and it always has been. So when we're looking at immune boosters and what our foods do, as we all know that food is our medicine, having a facility and infrastructure like this has really, really helped us combat that food security. So I can't stress enough about the parts that we do here as a community processing facility. So I hope again that I covered basics, but definitely can answer any questions and hit me up if you want a cool sticker. So yeah. Oh, and we also do have a Facebook page, so I do want to plug that. That kind of shows you a little bit about what we do here locally. And I know a lot of times people say, how can we get your product? And unfortunately, we haven't set up an e-commerce yet, but we're working on that with a vendor. So that's going to be up and coming soon. So definitely plug the Oneida Cannery Facebook page and like that. And you can probably hit me up there so I can send out some cool stickers. All right.
Jamie, we have a couple of questions for you.
Do they have any questions? I don't know.
So, what recommendations would you have for other tribes who want to start a similar, who want to build something similar to the cannery?
Another question. So, Jamie. Okay, I'm gonna field the question to Jamie here. The question is, what recommendations would you have to other tribes who want to start a
Know what you want to start with, like what type of products, what type of services do you want to start with, and that kind of really helps you to then identify what your needs are. Because sometimes you might be like, I want to do it all, but the reality is that we can't even do it all, and we have a big infrastructure and a lot of support within our community and government. And so again, I would really, really look at what are you growing? What is around you? And what do you want to do? What makes sense rather than wanting to do it all? We always want to do it all, right? And really look at, again, I always say those, whether it's like 5 products, whether it's 5 services. I mean, it doesn't need to be 5, but really look at what those key components are within your community, or what you're passionate about, what you want to start up if your community doesn't have it. What are those kind of components that you're incredibly passionate? Because we know that it's a lot of the passion that really makes it thrive.
Thank you. One more question. What corn are you growing this year, and how's it going so far?
Oh, we're growing our white corn, and it's absolutely beautiful. Last year we had so much rain, and there was not even any way at this point that we could even get into the field. And so we're growing about 8 acres of white corn, and it's going amazing. It's going amazing. And so we're really hoping that the weather keeps to it, and because it's going to provide a little bit of rain here this next week. So really the weather has been on our side this year so far.
Great. Well, thank you so much. We'll have this recording will be available on Saturday for the virtual Intertribal Food Summit. Thank you to both Jamie and Ernie.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it.